out.
Super Typhoon Danas, the name now etched into Taiwan's collective memory, slammed into the island in the early hours of the 7th of July, 2025. But long before the storm made landfall, the sky had already turned a foreboding shade of gray. The wind began to howl in bursts, and the people of Taiwan braced themselves, fully aware they were about to face one of nature's most terrifying displays of fury in recent years. Danas began as a tropical depression over the Philippine Sea in late June, quickly strengthening into a tropical storm as it neared the East China Sea. By 11 p.m., on the 6th of July, the storm's eye made landfall in Budai Township, Chiayi County, unleashing wind gusts of up to 220 kilometers per hour and torrential rain. These were the strongest winds recorded in western Taiwan in nearly 4 decades, not since Super Typhoon Wayne struck the same area back in 1986, leaving a trail of devastation that haunted an entire generation. The eerie similarities in timing, location, and intensity sent chills down the spines of many older residents who watched in horror as old memories were revived by a storm that proved even more expansive and destructive. What made Danas exceptionally dangerous was not just its strength, but its rapid forward movement, wide impact radius, and violent gusts as it hit land. By the time it reached Budai, winds were clocked at Category 13 intensity on the local scale comparable to 137 kilometers per h gusts. From Chiayi down to Kaohsiung, the entire western coastline was placed under a red alert. Rain poured down relentlessly, turning urban roads into rivers in less than 2 hours. Ancient trees snapped like twigs, rooftops were torn from homes and flung into the sky, crashing down with terrifying force. In Tainan alone, over 300 damage reports flooded in overnight. Collapsed trees, broken power poles, torn off roofs, and paralyzed traffic systems. Meteorological radar revealed that Danas's dense cloud bands engulfed nearly the entire island for over 18 straight hours. And the storm's reach extended far beyond Taiwan. Its outer bands even stretched into the South China Sea, a testament to the sheer scale of its power. By sunrise on the 7th of July, the damage was staggering. At least 2 fatalities were confirmed. One person crushed by a fallen tree, another who died after a ventilator failed due to a blackout. More than 630 injuries were reported across the island. Over 400,000 households lost power overnight, a number that spiked to over 710,000 at the storm's peak. More than 3,400 residents were urgently evacuated from mountainous and low-lying riverbank areas due to landslide and flooding risks. In places like Liugay and Yujing, rainfall topped 600 millimeters in less than 24 hours. In Kaohsiung, massive landslides sent thick layers of earth and rocksome over a meter deep, cascading down mountainsides, burying roads and, in some places, swallowing entire moving trucks. Locals, still visibly shaken, recalled how an entire hillside collapsed like a wave of earth crashing down without warning, all within less than 10 minutes. The storm also uprooted over 700 trees, toppled at least 650 utility poles, and brought down 3 high-voltage transmission towers, dealing a serious blow to the island's national power grid. Across Taiwan, in less than 24 hours, more than 2,180 weather-related incidents were reported, ranging from fallen trees and landslides to ripped-off roofs, collapsed power lines, and completely disabled drainage pump stations. Several areas were cut off due to deep flooding, while key infrastructure systems including transportation, electricity, and telecommunications suffered partial or total paralysis. The scale and extent of the damage made it clear that Danas was not just a passing storm, but a full-scale stress test of the island nation's resilience. In Budai, the first place to bear the full brunt of Danas's fury, local fishermen rowed boats through howling winds and pounding rain to evacuate the elderly and children just moments before the storm's eye hit. It wasn't a duty, it was a reflex, born from lives spent at sea, where survival is taught not just by instinct, but by heart. Amid these deeply human moments was a near-flawless emergency response system in action. Just 30 seconds after Danas made landfall, Taiwan's automated alert system had already pushed over 2.5 million emergency SMS messages to the public. The island's real-time power outage map was accessed more than 15 million times overnight, helping communities pinpoint danger zones and coordinate aid. In crises where humanity feels small against the raw force of nature, it is technology and preparedness that save lives. In the estuary area of Gankou, where sudden floods left many fishermen stranded, rescue drones were immediately deployed. They dropped glow-in-the-dark life buoys, vacuum-packed dry food, and even walkie-talkies to maintain communication. Everything happened without a second's delay thanks to emergency protocols refined over years of bracing for disaster. The seamless coordination between government authorities, rescue teams, modern technology, and the spirit of community created a strong and resilient response network. Taiwan didn't just survive the eye of the storm, it achieved something even greater. It preserved the people's trust in their darkest hour. At a temporary shelter set up in an elementary school, a group of medical students brought along therapy dogs. No medicine or machines were needed, just the warm presence and gentle affection of these small companions were enough to soothe the fear in the eyes of children who had just endured a terrifying night. Not far away, at a small bakery in downtown Tainan, the ovens ran for 10 straight hours on a generator. More than 800 loaves of fresh bread were baked and handed out freely to hundreds of families trapped without power and surrounded by floodwaters. And then, as the first rays of sunlight pierced through the thick clouds the next morning, Taiwan was no longer a battered land, it was a place rising again. The sound of chainsaws echoed steadily, clearing fallen trees from the roads. Garbage trucks rolled back onto the streets. People began fixing broken tiles and shattered window frames. Their eyes no longer held fear, but calm determination. They knew they had made it through. Typhoon Danas could uproot trees, tear off rooftops, and drown entire cities in rain. But it could not break the spirit of a people. Because no storm, no matter how violent, can ever be stronger than the will of humanity when people choose to stand together through the storm. Thank you for staying with us until the very end of this journey. Danas showed us the terrifying force of nature, but more importantly, it revealed something even more powerful: human kindness. Amid the howling winds and gray rain, every helping hand, every quiet word of encouragement, wove together a wall far stronger than any concrete barrier. If what you've just heard moved you, even for a moment, or made you see today with a little more clarity, share this video to spread the belief that wherever people stand together, there is hope. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us continue telling stories of disasters, not only of loss, but of resilience, compassion, and the enduring light of humanity amid the ruins. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for listening. Until next time.